today just to say a few words and to introduce our wonderful guest speaker, Helen Clark. Now, some of you will have been reading the newspapers through the week, and you will have seen, as you know, there's an election on in South Australia, somewhere where I spent a lot of time. And you will see that there's been an accusation that the Premier of South Australia, the Honourable Mike Rann, likes to name drop. Now, at the risk of name dropping myself, I might mention that I got to know Mike very well in my long sojourn over there, and there was no name he dropped more, and with more admiration. And I don't think it was name dropping, I think it was just genuine admiration, and that was Helen Clark's name. And he spoke fondly of his time at university where he first met her, and his admiration of what she did in opposition, he was then in opposition, and then what she went on to do in government. So I got to hear a lot about things there, and I was delighted to have an opportunity to sort of take part in this. Not only because Helen has graced us with her present is going to launch it, but also because of my admiration for the work that Jo and Jim have done. I think this is a very important book. I think it actually brings to the fore not just issues of sustainability and their complexities, but issues of large problems that we face as a world and how we might go about addressing them. How we might address them in terms of not just government solutions, very much not just government, but the interaction of all parts of society and the interaction of many nations and of global organisations such as the United Nations Development Programme. And I think this brings us to think about these things. It brings all the things that Warwick talked about, collaboration, cooperation, competition, into the fore. And there's some wonderful ideas in Jo and Jim's book about how we might go about them. But these problems are enormously complex, and above all in dealing with them, you need people who have experience and skills. And that is why it's so appropriate to have Helen launching. Here is somebody who, it might be that Mike Rann says she's great, but everyone I mentioned to that I was going to meet her, I was so thrilled, name dropping again, they said she's wonderful. The admiration for Helen, the way she ran a very innovative government and a series of innovative programs is very strong, Helen, here in Australia, if not anywhere else. We really admire you and believe that in going on to run the UNDP, we have somebody who has the experience, the intellectual breadth, the ability to negotiate in these deep and complex problems in a way that we can have every assurance that the UNDP will be enormously successful. And we're seeing the traction it is getting with the dreadful problem in Haiti. So, ladies and gentlemen, please join with me in welcoming a most distinguished and exciting guest in Helen Clark.